Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks, the wrap-up edition, Monday night from last Thursday's feed. Let's give a good sound check, video check. I think we're good. Levels look good on my end. You guys tell me what you see on yours. We already got some tricksters in the house. And we got Brian Moore. Cheese and grits tonight. What's going on, man? Still that name, it makes me laugh. Mr. Leahy, hope your feed was great. I tried to pop in when I was getting all this crap set up. Hope it went good. See Steve, Mike Stanton. We got 19 in here. Hope it's all going on. Darren Blank, what's going on? Electric Wizard. Yep, it's going to be a dirty trick tonight. Grumpy RC Flyer. We got everyone popping in. That's awesome. Definitely hit that like button, that share. Gotta get this channel growing. I want 12,000 soon. What's going on, Vic? Evening. Let's give a quick shout out to all my Down Dirty Tricksters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honey, how's it going? All my gold skulls here. Gold skulls, thank you very much for everything. And all the other supporters. If you're not a member, definitely click on that link. Join, get yourself 24% off all the discounts at McKayFineArt.com, which is right here. And those are the most two recent to go up, which was the Gears Vector set and the Killing Time, which was the first piece of 2025. So definitely download those. Gary, what's going on? Alright, what else we got? I'm going to thank all our supporters here as well. All the brand support. Thank you very much. Especially Iwata, Createx. Everyone, thank you so much. Let's going over to here. There we go. There we go. We're looking good. Mike, I appreciate the thanks. You guys keep supporting, I'll keep doing. I did a bunch of, since today I kind of took a light day, since it's, you know, semi-not work day, federal holiday, and then inauguration day and everything like that. I took the time to little work this morning, then trying to adjust the cameras so they were a little bit. I looked at the footage last week and I was a little disappointed in the feed footage. They're a little grainy, a little out of focus at point. The colors weren't quite where I wanted, so I think it's a little better now. So that's a little crisper. I can probably get in a little closer on this one. Let's see. And I think, do I have that on video? Let's see if I can focus that up a little better. Yeah, and then our top down, let's look at that. That's looking pretty good. Maybe that's a little too bright. There we go. I gotta take one of the joints out of this. It's a little shaky, but I think we're good. I think those look pretty good. Let's go back to the multi. I think we're good. So thanks for popping in Monday night. This is probably a 1 hour feed. Can't hear you over the music. Do we still have music going? If we do, I am sorry. That should have been off. Okay, so I shut the music off. Thank you for letting me know. I did not know that was still going. I gotta put a, you know, I don't want to like do it with the things, but I should probably get a mic in my ear just so I can hear the feed. Because if I hear the feed without a mic, without a earpiece, then it's gonna double. And when I don't have anyone here, it's hard for me to know. So yeah, I just shut it off, so that's good to know. Yeah, I gotta get a earpiece so I can hear. Basically a monitor. I gotta get an in-ear monitor so I can hear what you guys are hearing, because I have everything. I have to have all the audio shut off in here, or it feedbacks loops through the system. So good. So sorry about that. I can edit that out in post. So yeah, hope the video looks good. I think we're pretty good at most, and the color should pop much better. So we're good. All right, good. We got Facebook, we're good. We got everything going on. So, this is where we left off last week's feed at, you know, probably the 3/4 point, I would say, is where we're at on this. We did the red background kind of glow, kept it loose. We did the red, kind of pinkish red structure, and then did a red overlay. Then we kind of went in with some orange, and then did the red and orange overlay, and then we did yellow. And just basically working up those tones from the darker tones to lighter tones. Now where we're at, we're ready to get some other colors. So I'll run through what I got now. Last week I did do some transparent red, which I might bring back out, but I got this is candy yellow. So this is the, I think, tequila yellow. This is the grabber orange. Probably easier to show you on this. So yeah, that's the golden yellow, which looks really cool. It kind of goes down more of a gold. Then we have the grabber orange, which is the orangey color. And then we got the red. So that's our red candy. That'll be our top layer. I am going to grab some red quick. Then we have the Bordeaux for our dark. This is black. I'm going to mix into this. This is the white with a few drops of yellow. This opaque yellow, opaque white, opaque orange. And then I got the lime green. This is opaque purple. Which actually I shouldn't use opaque. I should use illustration. And then this is the frog juice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me grab those two colors while I'm thinking about it. Right here, we have a scarlet. And I'm going to grab purple, if I can find it. There we go. Nope, that's deep blue. Oh, you know what? I might use the transparent purple. Yeah, the wicked violet. Alright, that's what I used. But I got the red just in case. Hey, Miss Mendez, what's going on? Thank you, Dave, very much. Appreciate it. All right. So, let's get back to where we're at here. Shut that down. Okay, so, bring up the reference image here. So that's what we're working from. That was a sketch I did, and then I showed you how I transferred it. And just used the basic, carbon paper type trick, and I just make it myself. Gerald pop in? Did I miss Gerald? I missed Gerald. Oh, there he is. What's going on, buddy? All right. So, like I said, this is about the third point. So, we've done the orange, we've done the reds, we've done a little bit of the detail using the Bordeaux. Now we're going to really start punching up the colors. So, this point I often describe as a scary point. Because the yellow looks really overpowering because we're going to be washing it down. But you really got to bring that bright up in order to get that punch. And you can almost do this with the white at this point. Or the white, which is mixed with a little bit of kind of the cream color I mixed. Yeah, white with a few drops of yellow. This I'm going to run through my Eclipse. And the reason why I rather run an Eclipse Takumi at this stage is because the opaque paints are heavier pigment, heavier load, I don't have to put as much reducer if I'm running it through an Eclipse. If I was going for micro details, I would thin it a little bit more and I could go in with the Micron. But this is where I like using the Eclipse a lot because I can keep the opacity really strong by not over reducing it. So I can really get that kind of pop. See how that pops out? If I over reduce it, then you lose a little of that. But I can still go in and do these nice fine lines, even with, I'm doing those glints right there. Yeah. Like I said, so this is just as with the Eclipse, which is a 3.5. So I can still do these nice little glints there. But because I'm not using the Micron, I don't have to over reduce it as much. And it's preference, you know, it doesn't... How long are the paints viable? If you just leave them out the air, you got probably the day with it, or the afternoon, a few hours. If you cover them, like I've even gone as far as just to put like a piece of, like I've put my cutting mat over it, like paper towel and a cutting mat to wait, and I've used them the next day, no problem. You know, I probably wouldn't push past that because they're just, you know, they're not really. See, if you seal them up, they'll last a long time. But like working on a normal temp day, you'll get quite a bit out of them. If it's really hot and humid, you might start to see them skin over. So now I can go in and I can back. So these little teeny strokes here that I'm doing. So these little teeny strokes, which are like bright highlights, if I just back off a little bit, you get nice little soft highlights. So you can start soft from a distance, then you can come in for the kill shot and do like a reflection line, and do a reflection line like that. And you can over-exaggerate here because you're going to knock a lot of this down with the candy. So if you get a little too bright, you can push it back. So I'm defining those scales, so I'll go in soft and all. See how I just came and did that cheap. See the difference here? This has more line work, this is more soft. So it really depends how you want to do it. But I can come back in, and now I can hit like it's getting a reflection. Or if I want to give it like a harder edge, like it's like a core highlight. Where's my pocket pyro? Right? Ah. I could take my pyro like this. If I want to give that a little harder edge, like almost like a chrome reflection, I can just hit it with the stencil, and I can get a sharper line like that, like it's a really harder edge reflection. You know, you can really go as heavy as you want. Like I said, if you overdo it here, you're going to be candying it anyway, so... I'm going to stay away from the eye. The eye is going to get white in it. And up here, I want to really define that. So I'm going to give quite a bit up here. I'm going to stay on the eye because that's going to get white, but I can use the yellow in here. So see, I'm just pulling up those highlights. You see how fast it's already coming up? And if you get a little squirrely, don't worry, you can cut, like I said, you got to cut that back with some candy. You can cut back in with black details. And now I knew I forgot something. I wanted to get that scale stencil I made up using the, and I forgot it again. See? Can't remember it all, man. Always so much to remember. But you see how fast it's coming to life. And we're gonna do some fire up here in a little bit, but I just want to really get him dialed in. Get those reflections off those scales. We'll get a couple over here. Always just thinking about the shapes and how the light catches it. This is basically all cylindrical shapes. You kind of treat them like that, like buttons or rivets, and it all kind of fits the same. Now we're going to really punch this tongue up. This is where I'll use a edge like this. I'm going to punch this tongue. See how that just made it just pop. Just hit the edge. Now you can come in and put a little bright hot just a pop for the drool, kind of make it look a little... Oh, hiccups, sorry. Kind of get that wet look, and that brings that... brings it right to the forefront. Now we'll hit the belly. We'll do a couple of little wiggle reflections like it's kind of catching a little bit of the fire. Remember, I'm not doing too much of this body because it's more silhouetted. Alright, now let's grab these. Now we can pop this out a little bit here. Now we get a little bit tighter with the fire. So see it now, I'm getting tighter. Using the stencil a little more. Using a mix of large, we can use pocket graphics just to get some smaller little ones. Let's have it climb up this wall a little bit here. You see how that's already how fast this is coming together. This is the fun stage. This is the stage where if you got the customer, you can start inviting them in. I'm really picky about when I let customers see, because there's certain stages where it just doesn't look great. Oh yeah, the tire from the end of the fire from the other tongue could definitely be a nice little icing on the cake. We will see how that transpires, but I like the way you think. Always details, baby. But again, I'm not overdoing it, and notice, what's the one thing I'm always keeping in mind? I talk about this when you're doing fire a lot. So when I'm in the brighter colors like this, I want to make sure I'm staying within the foundation I've already set. It's something I really talked about a lot in the fire do's and don'ts. And maybe there should be a little fire coming out of here. Yeah. You know where it needs it? Right in this crack here. So I'm going to tape this back where it was. And actually that's going to help. Just a little bit there. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Staying within the previous color. So you never want the yellow to really be outside of that orange or red area. You want it to be inside. Because over the black, it doesn't have the same impact. So see how that little change right there really just helped. You can go through and shake this a little bit more. Yeah. Michael, yeah, it's loose to tight, exactly, and it's those dark colors. So, you know, you gotta have that contrast. So I gotta use the black or the darkest area to get the red or the reddish purple, whatever we're gonna do, and then into the orange, then inside, and that's what keeps it. What Cheryl's saying, nothing better. Yeah, exactly. So you kind of get in close, you look like this whole area, like I like the way it was, and then you step back, it's like, oh, that's a hole, it just didn't look right. And so yeah, definitely step away from your work. And if you don't have a big rush deadline, and if you're like struggling with the stage, walk away, man. Maybe paint something different for a little bit. Come back to it. Don't keep beating a dead horse, because that's when that's when accidents happens, or you mess up, or something. Just, you know, because you're trying to force it. Sometimes you got to get a little distance from it and just see. You come back with that fresh perspective, and you're like, like, man, there it is. There's the problem. Let's put some like drool on here. Get a little squiggly. And said the eyes I'm not doing too much, because I'm gonna go white and we're gonna make those eyes green. Because I want that. LaValle, whenever he was doing like reds and fires, he'd always throw a little green in there. And whenever he was doing green fire stuff, if you look really close, he'd throw a little red. Just to get that complementary pop. So I want to put that a little bit in here and get those eyes to really jump. So you could do before. I want to get... Yeah, sometimes for years. That's right, Steve. I remember when you were doing the Stoughton police bike, and how when I was teaching with you and we were doing the stuff down at Bear Air, I'd come in and it would just be there, and sometimes you'd add to it. And then sometimes, yeah, no, if you're looking for proportions and balance, yeah, flipping it's a nice idea. This is not candy red, this is the illustration red. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit out here. I just want a little bit more red before I come in. And that can stay. I do not practice fire. Yeah, it's you definitely, practice helps. But it's one of those things, it's like, you know, people say play piano, the more you play, the better you get. It's true, the more you do it, the better you get, but like, if you're in the middle of having, like, it's just not working, you gotta walk away a little bit. So before I do candy, I'm gonna punch this up. I have a love-hate relationship with that one. Mostly hate. I remember. Those are some trying times, Steve. Yeah, I've done that too. And I'm gonna be honest, I've done it with fire. I've done it with fire jobs. I've been like, 20, 30% through a bike. That's, luckily, which is why I always recommend sanding it. Doing the base coat, clearing it, and sanding it. Because I've done fire in the middle of a job here. I've done fire in like a 25 to 30% through it, just effing hated it, and just said, you know what, and just lacquer-thinned it off. I've done it. I don't recommend it, but when I've gotten to the point that once I was driven to that point, I can honestly say that the job ended up way better and probably got it done faster starting from that clean slate than if I was beating that dead horse. So just, I don't recommend wiping it down, but when all else fails, and you have that protection of the surface being cleared, and you can wipe it off without disturbing anything else or really going too far back, then it's sometimes an option. It's just sometimes it's necessary. And that's what I want to show to you. Look at the different angles. So it's really hard for you guys sometimes to see because the multiple angles, because the way the studio lighting and everything is, and I'm not a professional lighting guy, the angles and the cameras, even though these same cameras, different lenses, but they are the same type lens, and they're catching the studio lights at different angles, so you can see the approach. But it's nice to look because you can see the difference. Like I like this flame area right here. It just has a nice, almost an old school flame look without being too old school, and then it balances out, but it stays loose. And it's that nice loose here, and just a loose here, but you got a sharp and a sharp. Okay. All right. So that same thing, like I like that tight. Watch, I'm gonna take this whitish yellow, and I can hit that and make that hotter. So this is not the full cream white yet, but actually I want to get it to come out. So I just wrote on. Right now, Gary's still the high bid at 175. That's this note that I just blue paint on. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna let that through. Yep. So watch, so right here, see that yellow nice and hot? I'm going to take this kind of cream color and just hit it. Now that might be too strong, but remember, I'm going to be candy in this, so this is where you can play a little, but you don't want to overdo it. But this is going to get really bright really quick. This could be a scary part sometimes for the customer because it starts looking like you start losing the yellow. Oops. Gary's feeling generous. Let's go 200. It's a nice round number. But now you see how. Now remember, this is not going to stay white. This is going to get yellow. So by doing this now, I can kind of balance. When I do the yellow candy, I can get two different tones here. I can get a bright yellow and different Can't speak tonight. So I can get a lighter and darker yellow out of it. But so you can see now that I'm punching that background up, the silhouette's framing a lot nicer. Now I can hit. So now I can be more strategic in here. And kind of hit a few of these. How many layers for ideal real fire? Like I said, this is pretty good. I could almost stop right here. So I always do at least like 3 or 4. So I did that first one loose, second one in the reds, and then the orange, that's 2. Then into the yellow, and that's the third kind of range. And I kind of tone in between. So this is like 3 to 4 right here, and I'll probably do just some touch up. We'll do a blend, so you're at 5. You know, so you're in that range, but I would say that's kind of a minimum. With like the colored fire, like blue fire or green fire, you can probably get away with those. Sometimes it was like 2 to 3, depending how big you're gonna do it. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I want to get the eyes kind of crisp, kind of crispy. Make sure there's no paint on the back. I've done that before. I picked up a mat and it had like wet paint and went. So I was just checking. Make sure. You don't want to do that. Mike, I appreciate it. Times do get a little tough these days. For all of us. Now I'm just doing this because I want a crispy edge for the eye. And that way, when I do the green, I'm not, I don't get green over the orange. Because then you're going to get crud. But I can get this kind of whitish, kind of cream color here. Well, that's fine. But see how, like, bright that is, and now it's like, ooh, it looks too stencily, but when I carve it back later, by using that little stencil and getting that pop, I can keep that popping. Crispy with a capital C. I do hear you on that. A wet mat. I've done, yeah, I've done it. I was doing, oh my god, I can show this. I'll try to show it. I'll show it here. Show that top. Look at that pop. That's what we want. So I can already see once I get this done, I can have a little bit of flame like here, popping out from behind the head a little bit here. And it's just really going to push, it's going to do that depth. But here, check this out. I was asked to do this, and what people sometimes will spend on this, but I had to paint this scale. 3/4 camera might focus better. It's hard to see. It's like a 12-inch or 11-inch. No, not even. Yeah, it was like an 11-inch Land Rover. And we had to do all these corporate logos all over it. And like micro tiny, you know, and on the glass. And then like I had to pick it up and flip it. And I picked it up and I flipped to the other side. And then I flip it back and I realized I had a thumbprint from wet paint that I had to do that one side over. So frustrating. I have to set a corner. Mike, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, it's, you know, my wife was out all last year. She's back to work. But it's still, you know, there's a lot of catch up and everything else. And yeah, I'm sorry. So here's the thing too, with these brighter highlights, don't put them on every single one you've already done. You want to be more strategic. So I'm keeping it here. I'm kind of keeping it focused on just a handful, because I want to draw your eye to the center. Just a little bit here, a little bit in that tongue. Let me just get that. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's take this yellow. So if I was doing if I was going to do more layers, I would have been a little bit looser here, and then this whole area would have been candy with orange. And then I would have redid all these white highlights and candied them again with yellow. But it can get kind of big. You know, you can overdo it pretty fast if you start doing too many layers. So you really just gotta kind of balance it. So this is a candy yellow. So watch the pop here. See that difference? How quick that happened? That's just a little tequila yellow. And if you're using House of Color, you'd be using Pagan Gold. I'd be using Pagan Gold if I was using House of Color. So you can see, but because that was white, that was orange, I get two distinct tones. I'm going to be a little strategic. I don't have the fans going in the studio because I don't want the noise. So when you're doing fire like this, you're spraying a lot of paint. You definitely want to have some extraction going. Just see that difference? See that right there? You can really see that pop. I'm kind of going to watch the whole thing. I don't want any pure white. I'm kind of staying away from the eyes. So see the difference in that scale on this one? No candy with candy. A little kiss. But I'm not flooding it. A lot of guys make the mistake of they over flood the candies here. And they get really chalky. They get a lot of overspray. And it makes the job pretty messy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump most of that out. I'm going to add the orange to that yellow right here. Yeah, Pagan Gold's awesome. And this color here for water base is damn near close. So the tequila yellow from Createx the Candy is really, really on point. Alright, so this is orange. You're going to be really careful here. I really kind of want to stay out here with it. I want to put a little bit more up here. I'm just staying to the outer. I can be a little strategic here. I'm not going to go over that fire. I'm over that yellow. I'm just trying to stay under it. Just doing little bits. Little washes here and there. I can tone it. Kind of like it. I think I need a little more here. Push that, push that. I want to do some red. This is the blood red candy. Again, this I don't want to get over the yellow at all, but I want to get out here. And now I can kind of work these darker areas a little redder with the candy, because they have a little overspray on them. But I also want to tack in a little bit. Now this is where you can use the red if you want. The candy red to carve detail. And I do this a lot as opposed to like the Bordeaux. Because look, I can kind of red here and then come up like this. And the candy freehand's so nice. And I can just hit the bottoms of these scales red. Let me get that nice glow in here. Because sometimes your brown over the candy black, over the black, can look a little, can be a little brownish. Let's swap cameras here. You can see that at a different angle. And this is where you could just... This is kind of the money time. I could finish this up in a half an hour. Or I could spend 3 more hours on it. I could spend 5 more hours on it if I wanted to do every scale, everything a little wetter, everything a little bit more. This is where your customer's budget can determine how much you're going to do, but he's still going to get an awesome job, and that's what I want to stress. I'm never saying... Hold on a second. What I'm never saying is customer isn't paying enough for good work or a lot of detail. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is within the customer's budget, you got to give them something that they're going to be happy with, that's going to wow them. That's what they want. But if you could do that same image from like 20 different price ranges. So it comes down to this snake scale looks cool. I can spend an hour. It looks awesome. Customer's going to be happy. It's exactly what they want or more. It's better than what they expected. You're good. Customer wants every scale fully rendered. I'm going to spend 5 or 6 more hours doing scales. You know, that's going to change the budget. It's going to look amazing. Now, if the first customer who's, let's just say this is a $500 painting and the other one's a $5,000 painting. Okay, let's just say it's that much, it's 10x. If customer A looks at the 10x painting and says, oh, that's cool, and looks at his and say, mine's cool too, and doesn't really see or value, and I don't want to say value in a bad way, if they don't see that, oh, to them, that's not worth $5,000. Okay? But customer that's paying the $5,000 looks at the first one and says, well, that's okay, but I really like more detail and I'm willing to pay for it. He's willing to pay for it. So you give that to him and you go through the work, but you still deliver an awesome paint job for the $500 customer, the $5,000 customer. But a lot of guys, yeah, when you're starting out, you got to do it, and sometimes I still do it by accident or just because I get into it. You know, if you do the $5,000 worth of hours and you're only charging the $500, that's a problem in the long run. You know, so you got to kind of balance that out, is what I'm kind of saying. So, but you still got to make it look cool. I can stop now. I could put 5 minutes of this, walk away, and have a cool piece. It looks great. Or I can spend more time. So this is the time where the structure's there, the painting's there, it's all kind of clicking, and now you can kind of decide how much more you want to play in the sandbox. So if you got a good budget for the day, like when I did that little model of the car. Does anyone ever watch that YouTube guy? Not YouTube. He was on TikTok. He would do car paint jobs for like $500, $600, and rant and rant and rant. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but just, if you've seen that guy, I wouldn't want to show him that little model I just painted because that's probably twice what he charges for a car. But the difference is, it's not the difference in a mini model versus that. It's time. That model car, that customer is very picky. They want it just right. It's for a gift. It's for a guy's like 30-year retirement, and blah 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 blah. So I spent, probably, 3 hours in vector design work for the logos and go back and forth, and then prepped it like a normal car, masked it like a normal car, just small scale, vectored every logo, masked it, painted each color, unmasked it, pre-masked it, cleared it, polished it. All that doesn't. Just because it's this big doesn't mean it's $100. It still was a full 8-9 hour day, so it's hours and material. But if the guy said, "Hey, I only have $200, I still want you to do it," well, I could have taken those vectors I did, put them on decal paper, printed them on a printer, stuck them on the car, put clear coat on them. If the customer's happy with that, the customer's happy with it. Go for it. It's cool. But they want it painted by hand. They want it clear coated. They want it shiny to look right. So there's different levels to do the same job. Is kind of what I'm saying. Or ranting. Sorry. You can accidentally keep adding details. Oh yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times with customers, I feel them out. I'll show it to a certain point and see how their reaction is. Like, oh my god, oh, it's better than I expected. Oh, it's great. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do it. And once I know he's happy, we're clicking. I'll show it to him, get the approval. But like, okay, man, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I spend another hour or two on it, and go to clear. I don't need to show it to him again. That way, then I'm gonna put the extra little thing on it, and like that guy with that little model thing, he wanted some extra lettering on it, but just wasn't gonna fit. And I was waiting for clear to dry, and and I knew it was a trophy, and he didn't pay for it, he didn't have it. He never even talked about it, but he wanted his best of luck in your adventure, and the guy was an outdoorsy guy. And so I made a base for it. I fired up my laser cutter, put some wood in it, and I laser etched a topographical map into it, put best of luck in the wood, and stained it quick. Nothing crazy, and then mounted it. So, he came in, and instead of just being a model car, now it's like a trophy with a base and everything else, and he was super stoked. So, when you got good customers that give you all the time, too, I always try to give them a little bit more than they expect. I don't, not to the point where I'm going to hurt my own wallet, but okay. The collector that is in the position to say, give me anything what is the Holy Grail. Yeah, yep. I've had a few of them. We just had one guy who, he said that a lot, and then, money doesn't matter, time doesn't, blah, blah, blah. Then, he started getting really kind of pushy, and started getting mad that it was taking so long, and then he got the final bill from me and the other shop we were working on it. He was hitting the floor, but he had said he never wanted to see pictures of it, didn't want to see anything. So he never showed to it. He was getting really pissed. He was getting almost belligerent, on the phone or emails, and just a little bit really sharp, and we knew we did an amazing job on this thing, and then, I guess I wasn't there at the drop-off, but I guess the guy pretty much broke down the tears, how amazing it was, and how it was, it was worth all the wait, so there is some management you got to do with time and expectations, but you got to deliver. Okay. All right, I'm going to get these eyes I want to get these eyes green. So what I'm going to do now is make the eyes green. I'm going to keep it clean, and then I'm going to go in with the blackish red, carve my final details. Maybe do a little... Oh, you know, before I do that, I'm going to take the white. We're just going to hit a few, just like that. Just a few of these. I'm going to save that for the end. I'm going to save that for the end. Save for the end. Under promise, over deliver. And I wouldn't even say under promise, but yeah, you're over delivering on the promise or the job. But you know, I don't like try to keep the expectations lower. I try to basically be like, this is everything you wanted, and you know, that's what they're expecting. And then when they finally get the end, they're like, oh my god, it's way more than I wanted, and that's amazing. So let's see if you can tell the difference. Doesn't look very green on screen. It's super green here. I'm going to use the frog juice. Gerald, hide your eyes. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, Gerald, is I made them crisp with the mask, just so I can get these colors in, and then I'm going to loosen everything up by freehanding. So I'll take that stencil look out of it. Oops. Okay, so this is the frog juice. Just going to get it a little greener. And we're staying out of the orange area. A couple drops of black into it. Tequila is the best, and tequila yellow is the best. Right, Gerald? I don't have tequila, but I do have an ice bourbon. Cheers, everyone. Happy Monday. Okay, so this, let's get the eye in here. We're going to do the split. Okay. I do like this frog juice color. Yeah, it could totally hide some skulls in the flames. Now, when you're on a custard job, that's something you clear first. Make sure they're good with it. I want those eyes to like almost be hypnotizing. Like, what was the snake's name from Jungle Book? See how that green just pops. So how would I hide skulls? Well, if I was going to hide skulls, I would have already worked them in. So before I got to this yellow stage, I would have started framing them in the orange stage and worked them in loose, and then just picked like cheekbones and like teeth or a little bone structure just to frame them. I wouldn't add them at this point. It's too late. I mean, it's not too late. You could do it, but you'd have to go a couple steps back and then back to forward to do it again. Oh, see, I wish I bought a CO2 laser. I got a diode laser and I like it. I got a 20 watt and a 40 watt head. Works great, but I do wish I just sucked it up and did the CO2. Yeah, I think the CO2 is definitely a little cleaner, crisper cuts and faster from what I'm noticing. So, enjoy rebuilding it. Thanks for popping in. Okay. So let's take this white. Snake eyes pupil is always, what do you mean straight down? You mean, are they always straight down? Yeah, they kind of always go top to bottom. I'm sure depending on how they're open, they might change for different breeds. If Kaylee was here, I'd ask her, because she's an animal expert, pretty much. But she is packing to head back to school tomorrow. Her break is over. So now I'm going to take that same cream color. I can hit the eye and do that glint in the eye. See that? Just a little bit. Because this is where we're down the details. And then, where'd it go? Ah. Yeah, that stencil look is gone, and it's going to be even better once I really hit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little horizon edge. Like it's... Let's see if I can get in. Right here, I'm going to cut across the eye with this curve. And I'm just going to hit... I'm going to spray on the template itself. And just create a reflection line. Little bit. What is a system that you have rotating your paints? You mentioned it before. Oh, Michael Cohen. Yes, said this to me. So he sent me the he sent me this tray that's 3D printed. It fits the cups in it, and I just had one of these model rotisseries, like just those cheap, like Temu, Amazon, Hobby Lobby model rotators that you can put the pins in and stuff. And I just double stick taped it to it. That's all. You made a lazy Susan thing out of it. Alright, so I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick out the final stuff I really want to be bright. Went the wrong way on that one. We'll fix that. So now I got to be strategic with my last bit of fire. This is going to be white, using white. Susan was really lazy. She was just smart. So a little bit more freehand here, but really tight stuff. Like really tight. This stuff will get a yellow wash on it. So what I'm going to do is going to brighten this stuff up. A little flame lick off the tongue for honey. There we go. Do a little bit coming out of there. And then we're going to start carving those finals and wrap this thing up. Like I said, I could work this for another day. But I'm happy with where it's at right now. Make this a little brighter on this side, give it a glow. And we rinse out quick because I still got red candy in this brush. Give it a quick spray. Go back to the tequila yellow. Almost spilled tequila yellow all over the bench. Okay. Just a quick light mist just to get the white out of that. But not kill it. I just want to get it bright. I can either the yellow candy go over the eye too because it'll help pop it. Put it exactly. Putting the icing on the cake. So now I'm going to take this Bordeaux. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take the red candy. I'm going to add black to it because the flow on the candy is so nice. So, I'm not using straight black. This is that color. It's kind of maroonish black. Right? That's what I'm going to use to carve. See how that just really gave it that nice contrast it needed. When you work in tone on tone, sometimes it's hard to build contrast if not have it look too t-shirty, cartoony. And usually the reason why is because people use straight black. Stay in the family that you're working with. See right here? I can carve this up and define this kind of lower jaw bit, but I don't lose. It doesn't go cartoony because I'm not using straight black. And if I use straight black, I couldn't get loose, like freehand loose, because it'd be too noticeable. But because I'm using, and I learned this by watching Mike a lot, was by staying within the family, you can loosen up and work without contaminating the work, and you can play a lot more. I can come in here and loosen, I can dagger stroke, and I can shadow. So right here, I think it's going to be better. Yeah, let me move this camera just a little bit out. See right here to here, it's kind of the same value of this head. Watch. I did get in California. Yeah. Oh, good. So watch. See how this, it looks cool, but it just doesn't have the depth. Watch what happens when I carve this right here. And I'm going to use the stencil to do it. Yeah, I'm going to use the, you can do a freehand, but I'm just going to mist. And then I'm going to freehand in a little bit and just do some scaling. Just that little separation is enough. If I want it more, I'd bring up the red on this side. Same thing here. Let's break this up. Give it a little bit of scale, so it doesn't have to be crazy. You know, we're just going kind of simple here. Let's separate him. Tone that out. Separate him. Same thing, you're basically just bringing everything up. Now I'm going to go in and start working the scales. This is just quick down and dirty scales. I'm not going photo. I'm not studying everything. I'm punching out what matters. We get that nostril punched out right down to here. This is the money right here. This, you got to sell this. The nostril, nose area. You got to really pump that up. A little detailed there. Now we're going to get these eyes. We're going to go right over them. We'll do some scales in here. Little details. Really punch that out. Like, this is something I would even consider doing like a glow and have the green. Like, if I wanted to make it, I could have the green kind of OSL, object source lighting, like have the eyes glow and hit a little green gleam on the scales. On like a bigger dollar job, what I would do on this type of thing is at this stage I would keep this loose and I'd probably clear it after this, see what it looks like, and then go in for finals and add, you know, highlighting and maybe some brush work. This dragons and snakes, man, you could ask Rod Fuchs. You could spend days on just one painting of a snake or dragon. It's how detailed you want to get that. And quick drop shadow, that tongue. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty cool. No, and I forgot to look at it. I was just starting the feed this morning and going, shoot. I mean, not this morning. When I started the feed, I was like, damn it, I knew I forgot something. Because I was going to use it out here, and I forgot it again. Alright, so now, what I can do, to have a little extra fun, I'm going to take, thank you, I'm going to take the illustration Scarlet Red, and I could probably take some opaque red. We're going to hit, oops. And I'm just going to hit some areas. with it, just to give it a little painterly feel. Then we'll take a little bit of purple. And the purple's just gonna go on the outside. On a motorcycle, and this, I don't typically spray that stuff in here because I don't like it around the camera equipment, but I would probably use a little purple pearl and give it a little bit of outer, just a little bit of glint out here. But I will take some purple. And the purple out here will really kind of help that red pop, especially in the clear coat stage. It's hard to see. Put a little bit in here, a bit here, because it'll almost act like a black. But when you clear it, it won't be so dead black. It'll just have. See in here, I can hit a little purple. That's nice. That's nice. That's very nice. And that way we have the red here. Gotta have some red up here so he kind of jumps off the canvas a little bit. Alright, now, since Gary is the high bid, Gary, pinstripe color. What are we gonna do? Gary's still here. Purple. Purple it is, sir. I think that'll work. I think that'll work just fine. I think the guy is buying it. Alright, a little here, a little yellow. Okay, yellow, yellow, yellow. A good way to sign too, like I said, I always use these little paint pens. Oh, this is the first painting of 25, actually. Yeah, that one was both. I want to put a little candy on that. So that's tied in. Let that dry. Let's tape this baby off. What would you recommend for beginners to start airbrush paintings like this? Brush control. You got to practice the drills. You got to get good at, obviously, freehand control, daggers and shading and blending. So you got to get those basics down, understand. With fire, especially, you're doing like things like this. You really got to have the, oh, I lost my train of thought. Understanding shadow and, light and shadow, how to make things look round. And push and pull. That's the biggest thing is that type of control. So it's freehand control to a degree, but it's also like management of paint, like not overdoing it and kind of, balancing that push pull. So, but get the basics down. Sorry, you keep getting booted. Oh, it's weird. And on it, it's just practice, That's why I do these. Follow, watch them again. Watch the steps. I kind of walk you through it. I really got to get better at editing my content Because I could take this 3 hours and probably put to a 30-minute video, 40-minute video, and I just haven't done that. It'd be nice if someone who watched me was like a video editor. Trade some time. That's the hardest thing, is just the time. So I'm just going to do a quick mask. We're all amazing at overdoing it. That's the hardest thing to learn, is when to walk away. It's not a race, especially when you're starting out learning. When you start doing this for a living, like I do, okay, well, now it's a little bit more of a race, because you're racing the clock, you got bills to pay, you got to get the job done, it was on a deadline, you know, there's all sorts of factors that come in. You need 4 more hours on it, but you're only getting paid for the first hour, you know, but, so, you know, what do? Some of it is you got to do it till it's right, even if it's at your loss. You just, hopefully you kind of outgrow that. And for, you know, for beginners, you don't have to paint on metal. You don't have to do big elaborate paintings. You can kind of keep things simple. I definitely recommend, you know, starting small, working your way up. And you can do a lot of my download stuff. Let me tell you what's going on. A lot of my download stuff is perfect for beginners, because a lot of it's vector based, whereas if you have the ability to plot stuff or even do more paper cut in stencil, you don't have to rely on the freehand as much to get the job done. And what that does for you, it allows you to work on paint, understanding light and dark. You can work within the stencil, so you're not, you know, you unmask it, everything looks great. Something like this is where, I don't want to say it does kind of separate the men from the boys a bit, where the less stencils and the more you have to rely on freehand is, you know, where the rubber meets the road more. Yet no place to hide. Oh, I should not be using all that gold tape. That shit's expensive. Let's use a cheaper transfer tape in the middle. And I was gonna not... Yep. Because you get really good at airbrushing stick figures, man. And then as you get better at airbrush stick figures, you can move on to bigger and better things. But I've always said, if all you can do is paint a stick figure, I can get you really damn good at airbrushing a stick figure. Alright. Purple. Let's get this out of here. And then after this, I gotta start figuring out the next feed. And I gotta start working on my Adepticon stuff. This is one of the projects we're gonna be doing at Adepticon. This guy's really cool. This is what we're gonna be painting. So I've already did a black prime, and then a gray zenithal, which is airbrushing from one direction, so you get a natural light source. This is one of the things we're gonna be teaching in the classes. So he's gonna be really, really cool. So see how it's really bright from the top, but if you, it's dark from the bottom. I'm going to do purple. Why not? Let's do purple. I'm down. I think it'll look cool. What would Mike do? Mike would throw more color at it, so purple. Too late. It's a nice purple. It'll be kind of a deep purple, so it's not gonna like super pop. It'll frame out everything nice. Purple always looks good next to the fire. All right. All right, let's see what we got here for a look. That looks cool. This is actually my first fire of 2025. Sorry. Love how the snake's coming out. I always get nervous when I do real fire live, even though I've done it 100 times. I've painted hundreds of them. There's always potential it's going to fail, just look bad in my head. And then I got a little purple there. You know, I think what I'm going to do is I might back mask him later and just put a little bit of more highlight right there just to get that. I might not need it. It does need a drop shadow though. Let's break out my little A here. Put a little paint there. I'm just going to go here. I'll drop shadow that away. And that pinstripe, same thing. Put a little shadow there. Shadow there. And there we go. That looks pretty damn cool, I think. Not too bad of a painting. That was a total of 3.5 hours with chat and everything. Zoom back out. I dig it. I dig it. Did you ever light anything on fire? Did you ever light anything? Yes, this is all done in Createx. Like I've lit stuff on fire to study smoke and look at it, and I've done reference stuff, and yeah. Yep. Yeah, the purple really complements it well. It gives it a nice pop. I think the green would have been too, like, on the nose cartoony. Yeah. I think that's it, guys. So thanks for popping in for the Monday night wrap-up of Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks, the snake feed. And let you guys know if we're doing this Thursday. I'm pretty sure we are. I'm thinking of doing a piece that's going to start for Adepticon. And I'm actually thinking, I got a cool copper plate here. I might actually do like a ground either do it on the brushed copper panel. I might grind a little bit and then do something on top of it. I'm kind of thinking about that. Might be kind of cool. So stay tuned for Airbrush Done Tricks Thursday night. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Definitely got to keep this channel. I want to hit 12,000 soon. I think we're like 200 people away from 12,000. So when we got to get on the road, we got to get the plaques. The plaques have to come. Me and Steve, we need to get those. We need to get the silver plaques. That's 100,000. So need your help. Don't forget to join, grab some of the projects, and stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about doing a special edition sweatshirt for those who want sweatshirts, and that design's also going to go on the normal Teespring site, which you guys can get stuff off of already. But I'm going to do some really bitchin' high-end, high-quality sweatshirts. The brand I'm using, I had one of my buddies' sweatshirts for like 5 years, and it still felt as the day I got it. Never stretched out. It's perfect. They're not going to be cheap. They're probably going to be north of $100 for the sweatshirt, but they're going to be worth every penny the way we're doing them. Just the cost of the sweatshirts themselves is more than, I think, around $55 on my end. That's before printing and design and everything else. So, and I'm going to do direct-to-garment printing on it, multi-side. So it's going to be a really good. It's going to be a really cool piece. So I will keep you all posted. And we're going to do a limited run of those, a pre-order deal. And once the orders are in and closed, that's it. We're never going to do them, that one. So it'll be a limited edition run. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep everyone posted. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy yourself. See you next time. Peace.